Hello and welcome to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host, McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about Quinnis, which is a Big Finish companion chronicle story starring Carole Ann Ford as Susan Foreman and Tara-Louise Kaye as Meedla. Now, interesting fact, Tara is actually Carole Ann Ford's daughter. Go figure. So, anyway, this story is written by Marc Platt. Now, as you may know, he wrote the beginning. However, he wrote this one first. This one may be chronologically later in the time stream. However, it was released first. So there you go. Oh, and as always, I made a DVD cover. Well, like I said, I printed it off from somebody who made the cover. I just made the box. There you go. This story has two parts. And part one, the Doctor and Susan land in the fourth universe on the planet of Quinnis. Now, Quinnis is this like medieval kind of like place. There's what they describe as bridges hang around from chains from mountains. It's got this like weird surreal, not really surreal, but it's like very mystical feeling to it. And a lot of atmosphere comes out from this setting. The Doctor gets into a little bit of trouble when he tries to ask for someone of science. Now these villagers, they're a bit old-fashioned, so we say, and they believe in like rainmakers and that kind of stuff. And after the Doctor promises to give these people rain, Susan befriends a young girl, Meedla. Now, Meedla, played by Tara-Louise Kaye, she seems a bit young. I'm going to guess around 8 going by her voice. And Meedla has this very childish personality to her. She speaks very like she's a proper kid, and she's homeless, so instantly Susan connects with her, and you can see that they bond very well. Marc Platt's very good at character-driven stories, like with Ghostlight, which we haven't got yet. But, however, Quinnis here is a great example of his storytelling skills with characters. There's a lovely bit where the town folk, they're scared because these bird things that are an omen for danger start appearing, and they're all like looking into the sky and kind of stuff. And Meedla starts laughing because they look really silly, and then Susan starts laughing. You don't really see Susan a lot like that. Like she finds kind of like this dark sense of humour with her. So it was really nice to see this aspect of her character. So anyway, the Doctor asks for Susan for supplies from the TARDIS because these villagers, they've kept him in this, like, I believe they describe it as like a kind of castle. I picture it as a castle anyway. And Susan comes down from the TARDIS to get delivers and cut back and forth, and meanwhile Susan talks to Meedla, and you can get a lot of character in there. But then one day it does start to rain, and the rain actually becomes a huge problem. Now Meedla seems to can tell the future, because she says something about Susan and the Doctor bringing danger, and that the rain would be part of danger, and Susan doesn't understand because everybody wants the rain. However, the rain starts to make everything flood, and in one scene, Susan is trying to hold on to Meedla, but she doesn't, and Meedla falls apparently to her death. And then she gets saved by a villager, only so that she can see the TARDIS also get dragged away by the flood and fall into off the bridge, which is our cliffhanger for part 1. The cliffhanger here, I thought, was a bit weak. I mean, obviously we knew that she was going to get back to the TARDIS somehow. I mean, it was a prequel story to the entire series. Of course they were going to get the TARDIS back. But the bit, I think it would have been a much better cliffhanger if they left it with Meedla falling to her death, because that then highs the stakes, because, you know, this is a character exclusive to this story. But we'll get back to that. So part 2. Now before I begin, I want to state spoilers, because part 2 is very, very, you know, spoilery kind of territory. So Susan has a dream where she's talking to like a pig creature who keeps taunting her that the doctor's going to be angry with her, and like nobody, and she let her friend die. And you could see was like here that's messing up with Susan, which was really surprising. So there you go. So Susan wakes up and sees the doctor, and the way they talk, it seems like nobody could see Meedla apart from Susan and the doctor. So then everything's a bit puzzling. Even the doctor doesn't believe that Meedla was real anymore, and Susan starts to question everything, and she believes that they start believing that these bird things could take the form of people, and that Meedla was actually one of them. So she is actually the villain of the series. Now, they find then that there's these feathers, which are again a bad omen, and they believe that Susan and the doctor are bad luck. So they chuck him out. And then Susan reunites with Meedla, who has now got described as her rags now becoming like wings. So kind of like proving that she is the bad guy of the story. Now, the way she talks changes. She's gone from this homeless, innocent child with a kind of dark sense of humour to this proper villain, which is a bit a cliched kind of villain. Like she says, like, I like disorder and chaos and the miseries of others. That kind of speech. I think it wasn't really a good idea making this like a very stereotypical villain. However, Marc Platt's atmosphere really drives the idea forward, and I think that's where the story's strength lies. So I think Meedla as a villain was weak, and I wished they kind of kept her as a more, maybe she could turn into a villain, but not like this, the stereotypical villain. But however, the atmosphere of this villain now works, because now it's with this medieval setting, it's got this whole like witchcraft feel to it. So later on then, Doctor and Susan keep themselves in the castle, where from the window the Doctor can actually see the TARDIS through the window, and he tries to save it. And then there's this whole thing that the grass, because of the rain, the grass is growing and it can kind of like suck and kill people and stuff. And I think here the story starts to really it dips a bit in quality, in my opinion. I think Marc Platt works well with atmosphere. He's not a very great action writer, as the story clearly tells. The action seems a bit slow, and you can tell it's not really his forte. Because then by the action, it's just about the action. It's not really story driven. And Susan then meets up with Meedla again, because Meedla has the TARDIS key, and there's this whole thing of the Doctor, who now has a rocket launcher. It is explained, it's just me not explaining it well. Shoots her dead, and boom. There was a great line where Susan is like, I couldn't tell my own tears from the rain. I thought that was a really great line. And Susan feels really bad that because she befriended Meedla, and she did actually promise to take her on the TARDIS to try and get away from the villagers. but then the Doctor realizes that if they did take her, she would just use her misery, put the misery somewhere else. So at the end, it has kind of like what do you call it? Melodramatic kind of, not melodramatic. What's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's forget about it. So it has a very somber. It has a very somber feeling where they don't really feel like they've like really achieved anything. Susan kind of feels bad that about this whole thing with Meedla, and that like one of her friends had just been exploded by a rocket launcher. Go figure. And the Doctor starts blaming himself, and then that's the end of the story. However, they do tease that the next place they land is 1963 London, so that leads into our next set of stories. So overall, Quinnis, I think 3/4 of the story are absolutely brilliant and a must listen to. I think my biggest gripe is the action in the final act was a bit weak due to Marc Platt maybe not having great skill with action writing, but his atmosphere, when it comes to atmosphere, this story is brilliant in droves. So I would say check it out. I think if you like atmosphere, if you like Marc Platt's work, like Ghostlight, I think you will enjoy it. So there you go. So that is Quinnis. There you go. So there you go. 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 Oh my God. Anyway. Right then. I'll see you all next time on the Doctor Who Marathon.